And yes, you're seeing the little montage of us.
Yeah.
We're still working on our intro. Rod, you're a good looking guy there. I got to
You
say.
are too. You are too. We actually look good together. Together. So I like this. I like this.
I
All right.
appreciate it. The Herb and Raj broadcast, the most creatively named podcast in
Yeah.
the history of podcasts.
How long did it
Raj
take us
just,
to think of that name?
I mean, years. There was like developmental
Okay.
meetings, and the different things that had to go on. Like it was tough, Raj. It was tough.
It was
Remember that
rough
we
times.
couldn't go onto the show without a name, right?
You're
So
right. You're right. We couldn't just be call it the podcast. Like, what is this? What are we doing here?
yeah, what is this? Yeah, nobody would know who we are. So
Right.
appreciate anybody tuning in. I know we've got Twitter, Facebook, and our YouTube channel. So appreciate any comments. We're doing brackets tonight, of course, which means if you follow my bracket, it's going to be really, really terrible. So take what I say and do the opposite. But Raj, I think the first thing, because there's a lot of NFL news also coming out. We'll sprinkle that throughout the store and everything. But
Yep.
I know something that was near and dear to your heart. I didn't know if you needed a few minutes to talk about. Farmer Wants a Wife has started.
Are we really going to open up with that?
I just had to see your reaction.
Farmer Wants a Wife? What? Are you watching that?
No, I'm not watching that, but it looks like compelling.
Oh, okay.
I will say that much.
Okay.
But
okay.
no, I'm not watching. I just had to get you started off with a little levity. That's all.
Well, thank you. Kind of ease things up a little.
Well, I know you've got some Miami Dolphins news to talk about. Like I said, we'll sprinkle that in, but let's jump straight in onto the brackets. 8 teams made it to the NCAA tournament from the SEC. And yes, if you're listening, we will have a heavy SEC vibe going with the broadcast tonight.
Probably so.
Were you surprised that Vandy didn't make it number 9?
A little bit. I thought Vandy had some pretty good wins throughout the season, so I thought they should have squeezed on in there. But I guess when you're looking at it from the committee's perspective, there's always going to be every year. There's always going to be a couple teams that should be in that didn't make it, and vice versa. So eventually,
and they started off the year so terribly. I think that's what.
Yeah, and the committee has their specific criteria of doing everything. So it is what it is. I'm assuming they'll take the invite to the NIT.
Unless
if you were Jerry Stackhouse, if you were Jerry Stackhouse on the team, would you take that invite or would you?
Yes, more basketball is always good. Know, and they were playing much better outside that last Texas A&M game. They were playing much better at the end of the year than they were at the beginning. But I think you owe it to your kids to play more basketball. That's why I'm disappointed in the North Carolina decision.
Yeah, they're skipping it.
Yeah, they're skipping it.
But did Herb Davis say why they're skipping it, or he just doesn't want to do it?
Who? Hubert
Davis. I'm sorry. What's it, Herb Davis?
Look, no man named Herb will ever turn down more basketball. Okay.
Right.
You would need to apologize on behalf of all Herbs out there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see. But let's dig into the big bracket.
The big bracket.
Big bracket. The main one.
We will start in the South with our boys. Obviously, you're just kind of going through the first round. A couple of the games that struck out, like Charleston versus San Diego State, not named, but like an upset potential.
Right.
The Maryland-West Virginia game, people think that could be a little slugfest.
Yep.
My first round, Raj, goes Alabama, West Virginia, Charleston, Furman, Creighton, if you want to, UC Santa Barbara, Missouri, and Arizona.
Okay, I have almost all of the same picks with about 2 differences. I have Bama, West Virginia. I also picked Charleston. Here's one with different. I picked Virginia over Furman. Maybe you know something about that game. I don't.
Furman I think, very balanced team offensively. And Virginia, I just haven't trusted. They weren't playing their best ball at the end of the year. Both Virginia and Baylor, I don't feel like we're playing their best at the end of the year, had no momentum going into the tournament. So that's why I picked against both those teams.
And I think Baylor suffered an injury as well, too, because they were playing really, really – I'm sorry?
To their psyche? Oh, it's an actual player. Okay.
I'm an actual player. And maybe their psyche a little bit.
Folks.
Oh, wow. So I have Creighton. And speaking of Baylor, I actually have Creighton playing Baylor. Excuse me. Then I have Utah State beating Missouri and playing Arizona. And one thing, let's get this disclaimer out there before we start with the brackets. Again, like maybe Herb already said this, but this is like a rough draft. We don't know how many of this is actually going to come true or the accuracy of these things. We do them every year, and every year they get busted. They get busted pretty early, and we just try to live out from there. So
yeah, I usually have one side of my bracket that is done after the Sweet 16.
Okay.
First weekend, you're like, okay, Herb can't get any more points in the West. It's terrible.
Right.
So, having said that, I feel very confident about this bracket like I do every year.
Exactly. Same here. And when I was doing my bracket, I was looking online to look at some of the stats. And, every year there's like a 12 of 5 a 12 upsets of 5, things of that nature. So I had some of those in mind. I still have to go back and look at like injury reports for certain teams.
Look at you doing research.
I'm trying to. I got to do my research.
I'm so proud of you.
And so I'm looking forward to this year's March Madness. Can't wait. But I guess that was the South. So what do you want to go to? You want to East, Mid,
Well, we haven't even finished it, Raj. That's a sweet.
Or did you want? I thought we were doing round by round.
No. We're gonna get one bracket to the Final Four.
Okay.
So it'll be easier to come back to.
All right. Well,
that's what the fans demand, Raj. I go with whatever the fans say.
I did not reach into the suggestion box before today's show, but let me make sure I do that before next week.
Sounds good.
All right. So since you started it off, I have Bama beating West Virginia.
Right.
I have Charleston beating Virginia.
Right.
I have I have Baylor beating Creighton. That's a game that I think can go both ways. So I don't know if that's locked in yet, but that's just what I have right now. But I'm also worried if I erase this and change it, then the other team's going to win that I originally picked. So it's kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do there. Then I have Arizona beating Utah State.
I think our only difference, Raj, I have Alabama, Charleston, Creighton, and Arizona. So, Creighton, and again, okay. I did. I always call them Creighton, whichever one you want.
I think it's Creighton. Yeah,
I picked them in a fantasy basketball draft before the year.
Who,
so
Creighton?
I'm going to be yeah. I have in this side of the bracket, Raj. I picked Alabama, Arizona, and Creighton in a fantasy basketball league.
Oh wow! Okay.
Before the year started, so I'm partial to all those guys. So.
Okay.
So my Elite Eight is Alabama versus Creighton, and if you think I'm not picking Alabama,
you've got to be crazy.
Yeah, to be crazy. So I'm definitely Alabama. Which, by the way, the world is not ready for Alabama to win a championship.
They're not. I think Tuscaloosa would just implode as a whole. That city would go absolutely bonkers because emotions are already high in the fall for football. Now having those emotions roll directly into basketball season, I don't know how I'll be able to function at home.
And you don't function very well already, so that's
I don't. I can't function. I wouldn't know what to do. I would go crazy. I would be screaming. I would be talking so much trash. But with that being said, I think we both have Baylor. We both have Bama ending up in the Final Four coming out of the South.
Yes. Now I picked Creighton over Arizona, but if I did not pick, if this was like me trying to pick an upset or me not picking Alabama, I would most certainly be picking Arizona to come out of this.
Oh yeah.
So if I'm picking Alabama over Creighton, but it would be Arizona over somebody coming out of this.
Yeah.
I do love their style. Thinking out Arizona Creighton game would be interesting. An Arizona Missouri game in the second round
that could be interesting.
Like first 1 to 80.
Yeah.
And then Alabama and Arizona would be similar.
Yeah.
So,
I agree.
So that gets you out of the South.
With that being said, are you confident about your the South portion of the bracket? Are you confident with your picks?
Of course not.
Okay, at least you're honest.
Anybody who was like watching this and thinking, "Oh, Herb, that sounds great," yeah, don't. I mean, okay. I'm sorry. Obviously, I'm biased with the Alabama pick. I do think they have the talent, of course, to win. I was a little surprised to get the number 1 seed, basically the overall seed, based on how we ended the season.
Who did you think was going to get the number 1 overall?
Kansas.
Okay.
I
didn't because they got whooped by Texas in that championship game. I think that kind of hurt them a little bit.
I think that did, but it's like the committee made excuses for Houston not having their best player, but no excuses for Kansas not having their coach.
Yeah.
So it's like one way or the other. Kansas, and you said this all year, you thought Houston was a little overrated based on the conference they played in.
I did, and I think that's one thing that factors into it. I think Houston has had a pretty soft conference schedule, and then out of conference schedule, I mean, they lost to us. I don't know. I know they lost to Temple. I honestly don't know which conference Temple's in right now.
They're in the same conference.
Okay. And then obviously they lost yesterday to Memphis in the championship game. But I really just don't think they've been challenged throughout the season. So
yeah, I would have put Kansas above Houston for sure and rewarded them for that. And they won probably what is the toughest conference in America right now. So I don't get that at all. So. But what does Ron say? It is what it is, or we'll see what happens either way.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Another
All right,
T-shirt alert.
Go into the Midwest so we can knock out another part of the bracket.
Yep.
I'll give you my first round first then. I've got Houston, Auburn, which would be another T-shirt, by the way. Friends don't let friends
pick Auburn. T-shirt alert. T-shirt alert.
Oh, that will be coming soon. Drake, Indiana. It's funny on this bracket. It's like whoever wins out of Mississippi State and Pitt, which I'll probably pick Mississippi State. And I think one of the first 4 teams always makes the Sweet 16. So.
Yes, that is one of the factors
rules,
that I factored into here. So yes, you're right.
Yep, and you're not going to pick one of the 16 seeds. So it's either Mississippi State and Pitt or ASU and Nevada, which I think.
So wait, you have.
Go ahead.
So wait, you have Mississippi State beating Iowa. Is that correct? Playing and
correct.
Who are they playing?
Iowa State. Rodg, get it correct.
I'm sorry, Iowa State. How could I miss that state? So who do you have Mississippi State playing?
Xavier.
Okay.
And then I've got Texas A&M versus Texas, because how could you avoid that? And the committee was like, because let's 2 things to unpack here. First off, that the committee was looking at that.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
Second, Texas A&M, number 2 in the SEC, number 2 in the SEC tournament, gets a 7 seed. No, I don't buy that.
I'm not gonna lie. I didn't agree with that as well. And they played us. We whooped on them in the championship game, but they played us pretty good earlier in the season when they won in A&M in College Station. So I don't see how they really get the 7th. I don't know how that happened. I didn't watch the entire show and what their reasoning was for that, but I didn't agree with that at all. So they're gonna have a tough game coming up in the second round with Texas. I guess to kind of answer my portion of this selection, I have all the same picks you have, with the exception of the Miami Drake game. And I looked at this and I didn't know if I wanted this to be my 12-5 upset, but I went ahead and picked Miami in this one.
Is this because you don't like Drake as a singer, or is this something else underlying here?
I'm perfectly fine with Drake as a singer. I applaud him.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure there's no bias in our show, Rodg.
No, definitely no bias. Okay. Definitely. Hey, it started from the bottom. Now we're here.
Oh, but now you get on my taking an L joke.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
all right. So that gets us to the second round. So this is also hilarious to me. They put Auburn up against Houston, which didn't they play last year in a bowl game too in Birmingham?
Why does that sound so familiar? I think they did.
Yeah, because I went to that game wearing all Alabama gear.
Oh my goodness! As you should.
Auburn versus Houston in the second round. I was very tempted to pick Auburn,
right?
Especially if Sasser doesn't play for Houston.
Yep.
And the game is in Birmingham.
Yep.
But I remember the T-shirt we just referenced.
Friends don't let friends pick Auburn.
So I picked Houston in that game.
I did too.
I have Houston, Indiana, Xavier, and Texas.
I have the same exact 4. Honestly, I have the same exact 4. And I think, and you just alluded to this, but Houston's success in this tournament is going to be very, very dependent on when Sasser returns. I know he suffered a groin injury this past Saturday, and it was a nasty fall, just real unfortunate for him.
Yep.
And I think they tried to see if he could go yesterday. And I mean, obviously, after one day of groin injury, you're not going to be ready to go. I don't think he's going to play in the first game against Northern Kentucky, and I don't think they need him against Northern Kentucky. With that being said, I don't know if he'll be ready for that second round matchup. Like I said, for their sake, I hope he is, because they're definitely going to need him. I think he's an AAC Conference Player of the Year as well. So correct. They're definitely going to need him against Auburn. But I'm going into this thinking that he's going to play that game, so therefore they'll beat Auburn.
I agree.
And I have Indiana, Xavier, and Texas all advancing. So that portion we are aligned with. So,
and of course, Rodg, Big Mike says Auburn's not even making out that round. So,
honestly, Mike, if Auburn doesn't make it out, we'll be perfectly fine. We will be perfectly fine. We might mess it up on here, but hey, we'll be golden.
If I was free on Friday, I would get some tickets and go to those games.
Oh yeah.
So of course, the 1 year Alabama's a number 1 seed and they're playing in Birmingham is the weekend.
Right.
I'm working the entire weekend. So
yeah,
but can't fault that. So appreciate it, Michael, as always with the comments.
Yeah, shout out to Mike. Yes, thank you so much. With that being said, we have all
Mike likes our T-shirt too, by the way. Friends.
Hey, we got to work on that. I'm talking. Hold on.
Works.
Hold on, Bob. Yeah, can you? Yeah, Bob's on it. Bob's on it.
Okay.
Bob's on it.
Sounds good.
Shout out to Bob. With that being said, I think we're having all Texas showdown, Houston versus Texas. Again, I think this.
Oh, no.
Oh, wait. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. Did you pick Indiana and Texas?
I picked Indiana and Texas.
I can see that. Honestly, I can see that.
I think I had Indiana in the fantasy draft too, so maybe that's what helps.
Okay. I can see that. Indiana's a good team. I think they beat Purdue earlier in the season. They got a good team. They've been playing pretty well the past 1 or 2 months. So I could see that, and I think that's just kind of like the interesting part of the whole bracket selection is we have no idea. A lot of these games you can see them go either way. With Houston, I think Houston has a great defense, but like I said, if Sasser's still unhealthy, Indiana could take that game. But if Sasser's playing, and even if he's playing, he might not be 100%. We'll see what Houston could do. So you have Indiana playing Texas, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So who do you have winning the game? Who do you have going to the Final Four? Same here. And I think that's going to be it for Houston. Even though the Final Four is in Houston, I don't see them making it. Wait, Houston's not going to make it to Houston.
Yeah. Oh.
Is that a
you know
t-shirt?
What that means? Like if they lose the game, they're not even allowed to go home until the tournament is over. It's really simple.
I actually saw that rule.
Yes.
I saw that rule. It came out today.
Yep.
So far we have
allowed into the city.
Not even allowed in the city. Oh wow.
No.
So right now we have Bama and Texas as two of the teams in the Final Four. With that being said, let's move to the. Can we go to the West?
Before we move on, because we are a little bit ahead of schedule, I did want to give you a second, real quick, to talk to sprinkle in. No. Oh, are you ready? Do you think you're ready?
I'm excited. Go ahead. What is it going to be?
Do you want to do the Lakers minute real quick?
Yes. Well, they lost last night, but let's do it anyway.
Hold on, let me get the timer going. So you'll actually
hold on.
Give you the Lakers 45 seconds today. Let's see how.
What happened to my full minute? What happened to my full minute?
I don't know, because we'll just see how. I like putting you under pressure. Under pressure.
Wow. Okay.
Under pressure.
I'm waiting on you.
Okay, you ready?
Does somebody sing a song called Under Pressure? What is that?
Yeah, it's a song.
What happened to your little hourglass?
Somebody stole it. So
both Mike and I are heavily ready for the Lakers. Minute, so.
Mike's gonna be like, they're gonna be like, is Mike actually? Yes,
Mike wants the Lakers.
People don't realize Mike is very integral to the show throughout the week, sprinkling in nuggets. He's probably one of our biggest supporters. So always shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Big Mike. Yes,
we appreciate him.
Much love. All right, I'm ready.
All righty. 3.
Are you really timing me? Oh my gosh. Go
2, 1. Go.
All right. So this is going to be kind of a sour 1 minute or 45 seconds since the Lakers lost to New York Knicks at home by 4 points last night. I'm not even going to lie to you, Lakers fans. I turned off the game for a little while because I was frustrated on how they were playing. We were down by 7 or 8, maybe even 10 points at one time. D'Angelo Russell was keeping us in the game. I think he had 33, 35 points last night. But unfortunately, with that loss, we fell out of the 9th spot, and now we're in the I got 20 seconds. We're in the 11th spot. Lakers are 33 and 35, and we just kind of need a couple of our teams ahead of us to kind of lose. And another unfortunate part about this 45 seconds is that we play at New Orleans tomorrow night. That's going to be a tough win. We really need to win this game, and then we have the Rockets on Wednesday, so we have back-to-back. Oh Lord, that means Anthony Davis is not going to play one of these games. Okay, that's enough of that.
I think I'll vary the time every week because it's kind of more exciting this way. Do you need a drink?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
You're good? Okay. I should give you more of a head start next time so you can like stretch or kind of get ready first, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
good.
Let's go back to the bracketology and let's head up the West region. What is your first round in the West looking like?
Kansas.
Yes.
This one kind of pained me before the tournament came out, before the brackets and everything came out. I really thought Arkansas would be like poised to make a run.
Right.
The first time I clicked Illinois. I probably picked Arkansas when all said and done, but like full disclosure, I'm not picking them to beat Kansas. I feel like Arkansas has, that kind of talent, but I don't know.
You're just not
putting
sure.
it all together.
Yeah.
But we'll go Kansas, Arkansas, and whenever you do Kansas and Arkansas, I think
here comes a bad joke. Go ahead.
Well, I just feel like the somebody on the committee has like my sense of humor, and they're like Kansas, Arkansas, and that's why you get these kind of matchups. I'm sorry, it's true. Okay, Arkansas has like 2, 3, 4 seed, potential and like the ranking because of how they actually perform. Now, obviously, one of their Nick Smith was was hurt for most of the year, but I felt like they should have gone farther in the SEC tournament as well. But anyway,
I agree.
And for like Texas A&M to be a 7 and Arkansas to be an 8 didn't make much sense to me either. So Kansas, our Kansas, VCU, UConn, Nevada, Gonzaga, Boise State, and UCLA.
Oh, wow. We've got a lot of differences here. I have.
Well, you're wrong, but that's fine.
Except for the first two. I also have Kansas and Arkansas. Then I have St. Mary's playing UConn, TCU playing Gonzaga, and Northwestern playing UCLA.
Okay.
Yep.
I just didn't believe in Northwestern. I couldn't believe they were the number 2 seed in their conference. And then foreshadowing, I needed a double-digit seed to go ahead. So a number 2 seed always gets knocked out.
First round.
Yeah, or at least before the Sweet 16.
Before the Sweet 16. Yes, I did. I did read that. Yeah.
So I looked at my 2 seeds. I liked Arizona. I like Texas, especially the way they ended the year, beating Kansas twice.
Right.
Marquette, I feel like, was severely underrated. Shaka Smart doing a great game that they blew out.
Shout out to Dwayne Wade. Shout out to Dwayne Wade. Marquette too.
Yep. He actually, Rodg, he still has some eligibility left. I think he's going to go back and play in the tournament. Dwayne Wade, you heard it.
And how old is Dwayne Wade?
So we're going to go back to the to the West.
I didn't think he would answer that.
Okay. So when I was looking at it, what number 2 seed did I have to lose first? And I'm going with UCLA, especially with they got a couple injuries down the stretch too as well. So that would bring me to my second round of being Boise State versus Gonzaga and Kansas versus UConn.
Wait, Boise State versus Gonzaga, Kansas, UConn. Okay. I have UCLA versus Gonzaga and Kansas and UConn. Now, I was before I picked.
Now, but that is your second bracket that you have picked, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4.
See, again, when I made these picks, I wasn't keeping that in mind. So let me see.
I always do like one like that, but I try not to do more than one.
The thing is about the West region, I liked, but right when I saw the region, I liked Kansas. The names that stood out were Kansas, UConn, and UCLA and Gonzaga. Those were just the 4, and not based on their seeding, but just those 4 I knew were pretty dominant. And I even mentioned this maybe last week or off the air. I said I think UCLA is going to the Final Four anyway. So I do have 1, 2, 3, 4. And with that being said, I might reevaluate my bracket just to see if I need to change a few things up here. But I'm always hesitant before I make any changes because what if one of these is wrong and I had it right and it's your fault now? So
that's why you do multiple brackets and you only tell people about the bracket that was right.
I do. This is, like I said, this is my rough draft. So I don't know. I might change a few things around, but this is what I have right now.
Sounds good.
So now I guess further on in the West, I have Kansas playing UCLA and then UCLA beating Kansas and making it again to the Final Four.
UCLA over Kansas?
I have UCLA over Kansas.
We're like way, way off right now.
Yeah.
So I have Kansas versus Gonzaga, but Gonzaga bows out to Kansas. I will also say that there was a little bit of I wanted to see Kansas versus Texas one more time.
That would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, so I did pick that. And, we'll get to that when we actually get to the final.
Yeah, but I feel like Texas kind of gave up in the championship. All right, Kansas kind of gave up in the championship game, and they just kind of laid down like, all right, this ain't it. Let's just go to the tournament. But I don't know.
Maybe so, but this would be a good revenge. Oh, by the way, we very remiss in not saying, man, all best wishes to Coach Self.
Yes, definitely.
Hopefully that he's at home resting, recovering. I know it's hard for a coach to stay away from his team, but just, it's bigger than basketball. I just hope everything is all right with him and recovering. So, of course. That gives you – so you have UCLA. I have Kansas. Did you have Texas up top? Who did you have in the Midwest?
I had Texas coming out.
Okay, so this is our first difference in the Final Four.
Yes. I have Bama, Texas, UCLA. You have Bama, Texas, Kansas.
Okay. Are you ready to go to your last
Let's go to the East. I'm going to start off with the East. This is a pretty interesting region. Of course, I picked Purdue over Texas Southern or FDU. Regardless, I picked all the number 1 seeds.
Right.
I think the last time a 16 beat a 1 was only one time. I think that was 2018 when Virginia lost to UMBC, I think.
Yeah. And then they got so mad they came back and won the whole thing.
And then they won the whole championship. Yeah. So it's kind of weird. So I have Purdue playing Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
I think Memphis is kind of riding high off of beating down Houston yesterday and winning the ACC championship. I got my boys Duke, of course. You knew I was picking Duke.
Yeah.
I got Duke playing Tennessee. I have Kentucky. I don't know about this Kentucky game. I don't know. I know they're coming along towards the end of the season, but I'm not sure how good they're going to be. But I have them playing Kansas State, and then I have Michigan State playing Dwayne Wade and Marquette.
Yes. So I think I was Purdue and Memphis. So I wanted to pick Oral Roberts. I really did.
Then why don't you?
Duke is playing well.
Okay.
Plus, I hate Duke. So Duke is playing well at the end of the year.
Okay.
Louisiana over Tennessee. I think that'd be a good upset. Losing Zakai Ziegler, I think, will end up being big for Tennessee in the tournament.
Okay.
Kentucky and Kansas State. And I went with USC and Marquette.
Okay.
I'll be honest, I don't give the 8, 9, and 7, 10 matchups that much thought unless I think they're going to win this game.
I looked at Michigan State and USC, and I started thinking about Magic Johnson went to Michigan State and blah, blah, things like that. I just really didn't take into factors today's game, so I just picked Michigan State.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one I kind of just went off seeding. And again, I have to dive into this and kind of take a look at each team breakdown. And I don't even really look at what the I don't know what Jay Billison and Dick Vitale, like what they're picking, because that never helped me in the past. They never.
I know
really
Billis. I read his whole thing just to see. He picked Arizona over Alabama
in the championship game.
No. I mean in the South.
Oh, I was about to say. Okay. I mean, okay.
That's as far as I read his stuff.
Oh, once you saw that, you're like, I'm not reading anymore. All right. So in the East, who do you have second round?
Talking about Sweet 16?
Sweet 16, I'm sorry.
All right. Purdue, and as much as it pains me, Duke. And then Kentucky and Marquette.
Kentucky and Marquette.
Yep.
Okay. I have Memphis beating Purdue.
Which I was sitting there and I was like, they're the weakest number 1 seed for a reason.
Yep.
If I was going to pick so we went through the seeds, Rodg, and maybe we'll do seeds 3 and 4 so we can kind of balance it out. Who did you say was your first number 2 seed you would have out if you had to pick them all?
Have out? Let me see. Who do we have? Not Arizona.
Because I said UCLA would be my weakest of the 2 seeds.
Is it Probably Marquette.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my weakest number 1 seed, which I think they're seeded fairly as far as number 1, would be Purdue.
Yep.
And that's the first one I would have out. But go ahead. You have.
I think outside of Zach Edey, I'm not really strong about how Purdue is. So with that being said, I think Memphis is going to go ahead and beat Purdue in that game.
Yep.
Then I have Duke beating Tennessee. I have Kansas State beating Kentucky. And then I have Michigan State beating Marquette.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have next round Duke over Purdue and Marquette over Kentucky.
So you have
our
Duke
Final
and
Four is going to be totally different.
Yeah, it is. So who do you have in the Final Four? I have Duke, Michigan State. I have Duke going to the Final Four.
So if I was being honest with the way they were playing right now, I would pick Duquette over Duke. I would pick Duke over Marquette.
Okay.
I'm not going to be honest. I'm going to go with bias, and I will pick Marquette over Duke.
Okay.
Which probably ensures that Purdue comes out of this bracket just because neither one of us believes in them.
Right.
But I went with Marquette. It's probably the least confident out of any pick that I have. Yeah. I think, I have in the South, Bama, and the Midwest, Texas. I'm confident about those. I'm still unsure about the West as far as UCLA. I don't know. I could see Kansas beating them. I'm really not sure how that's going to go. And the East, I want Duke to get there simply because that's my pick, but I could kind of see Memphis sneaking in there along with Marquette and maybe Michigan State. So I don't know. Yep, I can see that. All right, so we have Final Four. We're going to go. Here we'll show Mike's Final Four. People are going to think Mike is the only one listening to us, and if it is, Mike, I owe you dinner this week.
Mike is a day one.
Yes.
So yes. Thank you, Mike. So Mike has Bama, Duke, Texas, and UConn.
Yeah, I like all 4 of those. I think those are very dangerous teams. UConn was balling out early in the year. They hit a rough stretch in the middle of the year, but clearly the talent is there.
Yeah.
And then Duke is probably playing as well as anybody at the end of the year. So they're probably a little underseeded at a 5, more based on how they were in the middle of the year again versus how they played in the ACC tournament. So
yeah,
we'll see on both of those. Thank you again, Mike. So before we go to Final Four picks, Rodg, we're gonna cover a couple other things real quick so we can kind of tease everybody with the end of the bracket.
All right.
What did I send you today? So we talked about Houston over Kansas. The SEC teams properly seeded. We talked about Texas A&M. Was there any other ones that you severely disagreed with or agreed with?
SEC teams?
Yes, strictly SEC.
I mean, we talked about Vanderbilt not being in. Missouri at 7. I guess I'm okay with that. No, honestly, with the exception of Vanderbilt, I'm kind of okay with these. To be honest,
Well, Texas A&M I think was underseeded.
I think Tennessee just had a rough last 5 or 6 games of the season, and that's what made them slide down a little bit.
And the injury, I think, as well.
Their starting point guard suffered tore his ACL, unfortunately.
And Tennessee, that's and this is not a joke. I mean, obviously we're not Tennessee fans, but to see 2 of their best stars go down in football and basketball, is very unfortunate. I feel bad for Hendon Hooker and for Ziegler.
Yep.
I hope, especially if you talk about Hooker, I think some team is going to get a steal with him in the draft picking.
Hooker is definitely flying under the radar right now because when you're talking about,
I really thought you were about to make a Hooker joke when you started.
No, not yet.
I was going to say, Mom and Dad might be watching.
I am not making those jokes. Hi, Mom and Dad. All right,
Okay.
I'm not doing that. I think Hooker's kind of flying under the radar right now because when you talk about the first 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the 2023 mock draft, it's Bryce, CJ, Will Levis, and Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson's big, I guess. But Hendon Hooker is just not. His name's not even in there. Him and Stetson Bennett just really aren't being mentioned a lot. So
Stetson Bennett I don't think deserves to, but Hendon Hooker I would definitely take a flyer on. Anyway, kind of bringing it back in there, I do feel it's unfortunate for both. And Tennessee was looking like a team that could be a 1 or 2 seed early on this year.
I agree.
I feel like their offense is going to really, really suffer. Now you lose Ziegler, it's even going to be even worse, and that's what's going to keep them down in the tournament.
Yeah.
So. But the rest of the seeding, I think that was fair to everyone else. I agree with you. Arkansas was too inconsistent. Auburn just can't score when it comes. True story. So we have some friends that we were watching, that we were going to go to the last Auburn-Alabama game with, and then the wife is an Auburn fan, and she bowed out. And Britt texted her, was like, "Hey, you didn't want to go to this game or whatever." And they were Auburn was up 15 at that point. She's like, we should have gone.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh no, I'm not getting excited. We can blow any lead."
Oh wow. And that's what happened.
That's what happened. So Auburn, if their offense was a little more consistent, they would be able to take advantage of Houston that second round, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
What is your favorite first round games? SEC version and non-SEC?
That is a good question. Favorite first round game.
I think Missouri, Utah State, and then hopefully Missouri, Arizona could be fun games because of the pace that these teams play at.
Are you saying fun games because of upset potential or just
whatever you define as a fun game? I define it upset potential. I wouldn't mind seeing Furman knock off Virginia in that first round.
Right. I'm thinking the Charleston-San Diego State game might be interesting because that's my 12-5 upset.
Yeah.
And the Virginia firm. And Creighton, you know why? Because I really want to see how good Creighton is, the Creighton North Carolina State game.
Yeah. Well, and then some of the games that I'll pick as fun games will be teams that just play a little bit more up-tempo. So, and then with Baylor, the way they're playing, UC Santa Barbara could give them a good game. Now watch Baylor beat them by 30 and talk bad about me in the post-game press conference. So, but those are the kind of the games, I guess, on that side that I'm looking forward to. On the other side, if Nevada does make it to TCU, that could be an interesting one. And then, of course, Iona with Pitino possibly leaving there and trying to get back a little bit into the big boys. That could be.
I heard St. John's is reaching out to him. So I'm gonna clarify where we are with that. At our next meeting, I'm gonna talk to Bob, and because Bob has a lot of connects too. So Bob knows.
Oh, really?
People. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Bob needs a raise.
You don't have to mention that every show.
Okay. I don't. It's actually in my contract.
Email me your contract after the show. We're not going to discuss it on the air, but email me your contract.
You got it. You got it.
Okay. Thank you.
So what else are you looking at?
That's it. I'm just really, really anxious. And this is the very first time when I've actually picked. Well, I'm not going to say it yet, but I think Bama can make a very, very, very deep run. In years past, I haven't. I felt like they might make it, second round Sweet 16 back in 03. It was 03 or 04 when we had that. We made it to the Elite Eight, and I think we eventually lost to Carmelo Anthony and Syracuse, who won the national championship.
I thought we lost to UConn. Wasn't somebody shooting balling out for UConn? Talking about after we beat Stanford?
You might be right. I could have sworn you might be right. I'm not sure. I want to say maybe that's the year Carmelo and them won it, which would have been 03. But that was an exciting time because we had never made it that far before.
Right. But we weren't even expected to do that, though, either.
That's true.
And what was it, like a 7 or 8 minute stretch of no scoring is the only thing that helped that game. So this season will not be like that. So I'm looking at mine, Roger. One of the questions we were going to talk with this little SEC flavor we had going on was what team do you have going the furthest? I'm looking at my Sweet 16. I have only Alabama and Kentucky making the Sweet 16. So
you have Kentucky making it to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, that's only 2 games.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm saying, what happened to all the rest of my SEC love? Like, am I just off, or all the rest of these teams going to bow out early?
No, I have the same. I've got Bama. No, I just have Bama. I have Kentucky losing. I have Kentucky losing to Kansas State in the round of 32. So I just got Bama making it that far.
The only SEC team you pick out of 8 to make the Sweet 16 is Alabama.
Yep.
Are we Alabama
checking?
Yeah. What is wrong with us?
And then again, you did mention that I have the 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds coming out of the West,
and Midwest,
and the Midwest. So there might be some changes there. Although I don't know, man. I'm just worried, like I said, that I'm going to change something and then that team wins, and I'm going to be so disappointed in you, not myself, because I'm confident in myself. I'm going to be mad at you though.
Wow. Thanks. I think.
But again,
I at least have a couple. I know Mike has a bracket. My friend JT has a bracket. Yeah. So I'm at least be in 2 different ones to start off. How many of them? Let's say you do 5 brackets.
Okay.
How many do you let Alabama win the whole thing?
Not all 5, of course, because I would say maybe 2 or 3, to be honest with you, because I could see Arizona possibly sneaking in there, Kansas sneaking in there. I don't think Duke or Michigan State or anybody from the East are going to win it, but I would say 3 to answer your question.
3?
Yeah, Alabama, and we both know this. Alabama has everything that it takes to win a championship, and I think this is probably one of Alabama's best teams, definitely in recent years. I'm not going to say, forever, because we moved to Tuscaloosa in 1994, and I can't really give you a lot of details on teams, in the Wimp Sanderson era and all that type of stuff. So I'm just saying, offensively, defensively, length, youth, hustle, rebounding, shooting, definitely shooting. Alabama has exactly what you need to win a championship. I'm just worried that we're going to have one game when we miss a lot of 3-pointers.
Yeah.
And let's just say we hit a few, and we're up 20-12. We miss a shot, 2014. We miss another shot, 2017. Then we keep missing threes, and eventually now we're down by 10, and we can't climb out of the hole. That's what I'm worried about. We got to be able to miss these shots and miss a few threes and still be able to drive the ball and still score. So if we can do that, we can win a championship. But if we literally die by the 3, then that's going to be it.
You're making me anxious already. The game's
I know.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?
I don't know.
We're usually at this time just talking about the spring game and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing talking about a whole bracket? And I don't know if I'm ready for that. So
yeah.
All right, you want to dive into our final 4 picks?
Let's do it. So I have Bama against Duke and Texas versus UCLA.
Right. I have Bama versus Marquette and Texas versus Kansas.
Okay.
So I'm of course picking Bama over Marquette.
I'm picking Bama over Duke. Yeah.
Yeah. Marquette is my second shakiest. I just feel like they're underrated the whole year, and I'm probably doing that and thinking, I'd be shocked honestly if they actually came out of the East.
Yeah.
But I also pick them because it's easier for me to pick Alabama over Marquette than it is like Duke or Purdue or any of that stuff. I would love to match up with Purdue because I think we put a big man and some big bodies on them. I think the guard play is suspect, and I think that's where we would win that game.
That's why I made the point earlier. I said outside of Zach Edey, I don't think Purdue really has too strong of a team. And I think, Bediako, now listen, Edey versus Bediako, Edey's going to eat. Edey's going to get his points and rebounds because Bediako's only so big. but they don't have anybody who's going to keep up with our speed and our shooting on the perimeter. So
agreed.
I think that would be a really good game for us, and I think we could beat Purdue if that was to come. But neither of us have Purdue making it that far anyway. So
right,
so
that's just I've got Alabama in the championship game.
I have Alabama in the championship game, yes, and I have I have UCLA beating Texas and playing Bama in the championship game.
So I have Kansas over Texas.
Okay,
mostly because I know more Kansas fans than Texas fans.
And
I mean, that's it.
You also know a lot of Auburn fans. Are you picking them to go far?
Well, it's Auburn, though. That's different. I know 0 Texas fans, and I know 1 Kansas fan. So by score of 1-0, Kansas will beat Texas.
Kansas will beat Texas. So the big question of the night that everybody wants to know is, who do you have cutting down the nets?
Of course, Alabama.
Yes!
Let's go ahead and say this.
Yes.
For the first bracket I do, and let's say I lose computer access for the rest of the week and I never get to do another bracket, my first bracket has to have Alabama winning.
Yeah.
Second, I wouldn't pick Kansas to win this one, mostly because it's hard to repeat. And then you go into the tournament with the uncertainty with self, and their bracket is not really that easy. Like that Arkansas second round matchup could be a sneaky.
That's gonna be a tough game.
Yep. Yeah. And then UConn is a tough number 4 seed. Gonzaga somehow is sliding under the radars. Like they've got a tough little bracket here.
Yeah.
So I don't think Kansas will repeat. I think they have the talent to, but it's just a lot working against them. So if I was doing this differently, I wouldn't pick Kansas in the championship game against Alabama and have Kansas win.
Well, you have an opportunity to do it differently. You've got multiple brackets.
I have multiple brackets. I probably won't be picking Kansas to win any of them, the championships, for those reasons. So, like, let's say, if not Alabama, my second pick will probably be Arizona because I love that style of play.
Okay.
My third, I don't know if I'll probably give it to UConn out of the West or Gonzaga out of the West before I give it to Kansas or UCLA.
UConn or Gonzaga. I could see Gonzaga making it. I feel like Gonzaga, even though they've won 28 games, they're kind of slid under the radar throughout the season, even though they beat us earlier in the year. And they got a good team. They're not as good as
other Gonzaga teams. That's
right. But they still have a good. Yeah, no, I agree. You got it. They're not as good as years past, but still have Mark Few as a coach. I think Gonzaga is going to make a nice run in this tournament.
Sounds good.
So we both have Bama winning national championship.
Surprise.
Surprise. So what do we do? What do we owe it to our viewers and listeners if Bama wins the national championship? Do we do anything, or
we will be insufferable? So, we take comments all week, and next week we'll mention it after the Sweet 16. Because if something happens and we get upset, I don't even want to talk about this anymore.
Oh my goodness! If Bama loses, I don't even know if we're gonna do the show again. I don't know. No, we'll do the show. We ain't gonna lie. We're still gonna do the show. We'll do the show.
How about this?
Yes. What's that?
T-shirt alert. T-shirt alert. If not
Bama, then who?
Nobody.
Yeah.
All right. So we're okay. I know we got about 15 minutes left in the show, Rodg.
Yep.
I know we wanted to give you a chance to talk about the moves your Dolphins made.
Yes.
And our group chat is blowing up with it. So keep in mind, I'm in a group chat with Rodg and Mike, and it has somehow turns into a Dolphins and Lakers chat, and I'm a fan of neither one.
Yeah, but you're eventually going to be a fan. Regarding the Lakers, I know you're a huge LeBron fan. You'll never say it, but I know you are. So you don't even have to tell me that. That's fine. And as far as the Dolphins, you really don't have. Okay, well, I guess the Tennessee Titans are your team. But let's just say
I rooted for Philly. But Titans are making too many bad moves for me to jump. Like, I'm a bandwagon guy.
Is Derrick Henry signed on there for next year, or is he?
He is, but I think he's on the trading block.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So they're trying to blow that thing up.
But anyway, back so that you guys picked up Tua's 5th-year option.
Yes.
Signed Mike White to back him up.
I think Mike White came from the Jets and maybe another team before that. We got Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
The trade. I love the trade for Ramsey.
I agree.
It was funny when I got the notification about the trade. I was like, okay, what did we give up to get him? We gave up a 3rd-round pick from this year's draft and Hunter Long, who was a tight end, who honestly I did not know he was on our team.
Right. When they
And,
said a tight end, I just knew it wasn't Gesicki, and I forgot he's
of
a free
course.
agent anyway. But I was like, I guess it's not Gesicki because they didn't give him a name. So,
And even when I Googled Hunter Long, you can't even see any like NFL stats from him. So I'm like, I have no idea who was working this trade on the Rams side, but I guess they really wanted that 3rd round pick. So to get
his cousin was in on
yeah.
the trade. He was like, gotta get my boy Hunter, man. Hunter, that's my dog.
I know. So now we have a stronger our cornerback. We got him, Xavier Howard, 2 Pro Bowl cornerbacks. We still got Christian Wilkins. We still got a really, really strong defense. Offense is going to look good. But at the end of the day, we all know this is all going to fall in the eyes and the arms of Tua. If Tua can stay healthy and make some smart passes and smart plays throughout the season, we could definitely make a run in the playoffs. But if Tua gets injured or something unfortunate happens, and we'll have to rely on Mike White and obviously Bridgewater can't stay
good in spot duty, and I think he's more dynamic than the guys you had playing last year. So I think that's where that helps. So.
And Bridgewater had trouble staying healthy too. So
yeah. But speaking of the Jets,
okay,
you know who they're about to get.
I heard seems like Aaron Rodgers might be making his way out there.
Yeah.
So
does that scare you in the division?
No, it doesn't scare me at all. I do think it's going to make the Jets a lot stronger, not just because it's Aaron Rodgers, but the Jets have a nice young core. They have a nice young defense and some pretty good offensive weapons. They just didn't have a good quarterback. Zach Wilson wasn't doing the job. And who else was it?
Mike White was okay at times.
Mike White. I thought there was another name in the mix. You want to mention somebody?
Well, I think after Mike White got hurt, they had a 3rd guy out there.
Okay.
So they called me, but with my bum knee, I couldn't do it for him.
I think if Aaron Rodgers go there, it's not going to worry me a bit. Obviously, it'll present more of a challenge, but with us getting Jalen Ramsey and having Xavier Howard, the thing is, I just don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be happy in New York, getting adjusted to a new city, new team, etc. Like, I don't know how long he's going to be there.
Well, he has to sign off on this, so I think he's going to give him probably 2 years, given his age. Like you said, the defense is great. Not forget the running back, but if he doesn't get hurt this year, they'll be able to rely more on him. So it'll probably be similar to his situation in Green Bay, where they'll run the ball a lot and kind of protect him.
That's what I was going to ask you. By him going to the Jets, is he going to be in a much better position than he was in Green Bay? Wasn't the division wasn't he when he was in Green Bay? Wasn't that division weaker than the AFC?
I think a little bit better defense wise, and maybe a little more talent on offense.
Okay.
Than what he had in Green Bay. So especially receiver wise, he was trying to break in some new. Although I mean that's kind of I wouldn't be surprised if they make one more move if they do get him. But I can't blame the Jets for being all in, especially if you think you're just a quarterback away.
Yeah, I agree. They've got to make a move. So
and the last move, I guess before we do some tidying up and then get into the questions of death, the Bears trade out of the 1st pick. And I'll go for it. I liked it. Obviously, if they had to decide if it was going to be Fields or not Fields. So I think they got a good haul for him and got him a possible number 1 wide receiver. So I think it's a great move for the Bears.
DJ Moore is only 25 years old. He's young. And that's in 1,000-yard, at least minimum 1,000-yard receiver. So I think
his stats would be so much better if he wasn't having like this hodgepodge of people throwing to him.
Exactly.
Here, so.
Well, he had 888 receiving yards last year, but the 2 years prior, he had over 1,000 yards. So, like you said, as long as he gets a nice, stable quarterback and Justin Fields can get him the ball, he'll be all right there in Chicago. So, I'm okay with it. And by them still having the number 9 pick, they're also kind of like saying, like, hey, we can still grab one of these quarterbacks because either Levis or, depending on how the chips fall, either Levis or Anthony Richardson or even Hendon Hooker, if they want to, might be there at number 9 if they want a quarterback. But and then
I wouldn't take Hendon Hooker in the 1st round though.
Yeah, he's not gonna play anytime soon. And then he's more of a later round pick. I agree with that.
Definitely.
I'm just throwing out the hypothetical.
I'm sure he's on some draft boards to stash away.
Yeah. So they get at number 9, they can still get pretty much what they can get an offensive tackle. They can get if they want a running back, they can get a running back. They can get another receiver to go with DJ Moore and them. So this is a really good trade for the Bears. They didn't have to give up too much, and I think they'll be all right.
Well, hey, in all fairness, real quick before we move into the questions, did do a women's bracket. We don't know enough about the women's game yet to get all the picks out there. So I will say in the Final Four, I had South Carolina and Iowa, and UConn and LSU. So
honestly, I have
what drove this.
Now, I'm looking at the women's bracket now, and where is UConn at?
In Seattle 3, I guess. Bottom right.
Okay, I see him here. All right. I would have, LSU, South Carolina, probably South Carolina winning the whole thing.
Definitely South Carolina winning the whole thing. I have South Carolina over UConn again to win the whole thing.
I just don't know if UConn's going to make it the whole way. Let me see.
If they had Paige Buchers, I think it'd be more of a slam dunk. But he's amassed a lot of talent there. I just don't like Gino Auriemma.
Is Paige healthy? Is she playing?
No.
Oh, see, that's the
out
thing.
For the year.
Yeah. Okay. So they might. UConn might make it to the Final Four they got the coach. So I don't know. I've got South Carolina winning the whole thing and staying undefeated.
Same here. And I hope they do. I'd love to see a repeat.
You know what?
It's funny in the men's game, I talk about how hard it is, but South Carolina's been so dominant this year that it's hard to pick against them. So,
you know what?
What?
I'm gonna make a prediction right here.
Okay.
I have LSU. I'm gonna pick LSU to win the women's title.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
South Carolina manhandled them earlier this year.
I don't care.
Or they woman handled them.
Yeah, we got to get that right, please.
No,
sorry, guys.
Apologize.
It's woman handle. I'm picking LSU to win the whole thing.
Okay.
You heard it here first.
I hope you don't hear it here second, folks.
I'm picking LSU to win the whole thing for the women's bracket.
All right. We'll talk about this next week.
Okay, if we want to.
Yeah, if we want to. All right, you ready for the questions? Let's go.
No. Are you ready for the questions?
Probably not. One time you had me eating like spinach and paste sandwiches or something. I forget.
No, it was spinach, artichoke dip, and Frosted Flakes.
Let's go. Bring the questions.
Okay, all right.
Bring the questions on.
All right, question number one. This is easy. With us getting ready to enter March Madness and Alabama having their first game Thursday at, I believe, 1:45 Central Standard Time. Which former, which means not on the team now, which former Alabama player would you put on this year's team to help their chances to win a national title?
Ooh, I like Erwin Dudley.
Okay, that was actually. Keep going. Is that your pick or?
Oh no, Herb Jones.
Go! You got it. We picked the same guy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this team doesn't need like too much more scoring, but Herb Jones will increase our defensive efficiency even more, and Herb Jones can get you 10 or 12 points if you need it.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be.
And the reason why I went Erwin, I was just trying to think of or like a Roy Rogers. Like I was just thinking of another big.
I was thinking of another big man. Yeah.
But Herb Jones would fit that with his length and size. I think he would fit, especially if you look like at a matchup with like a Zach Edey, you'd want a guy like that. So Herb Jones would work for me.
And I also feel like if you put Erwin Dudley in there, you can't really start Bediako because you need Clowney in there because Clowney could shoot the ball.
Right.
So and I like Clowney's length. So Herb Jones was
Jones more versatile for sure.
Exactly. And for those thinking Colin Sexton, no. Colin Sexton is a very ball-dominant guard.
Yeah.
This offense is not going to flow. He wasn't a great three-point shooter. It just wouldn't work. So
no. I'll be honest. It didn't even cross my mind with Colin Sexton.
It didn't. Herb Jones was my first, then Erwin Dudley. So
plus, I mean, how am I not going to pick my cousin Herb? Shout out to Herb.
You got the same. Question number 2. I don't know. Okay. I like this question. Uh-oh. Let's just say your wife, Brittany. Shout out to Brittany. Let's just say she says, Herb, you know what? I'm going to give you 1 week husband-free duty. You don't have to be a husband for a week. You can go party, do whatever you want. For 1 week, if you had to pick one character out of the Star Wars universe to be Britt's husband and take your place for a week, who would you pick and why?
R2D2.
That means what?
There's no chance of her wanting to kiss him or rub on him or anything. So
listen. Let me clarify this. It's not none of the kissing and none of that, but just as far as the husbandly duties and helping clean, take out the trash, things like helping to wash the dishes, things like that. Things that sometimes we get I'm not going to use the term fussed at, but sometimes that we have to do as husbands. Who would you get to replace you there? I'm not talking about like
C3PO then.
Because he'll do everything.
He'll do all that stuff, but like be annoying and talk too much, and she'll really want me back. So I'm either going R2D2 or C3PO.
No Darth Vader? What about Darth Vader?
No. Oh God, we'll come back and like they'll be trying to take over the whole neighborhood. So, no, I'm good with that. Thanks.
Oh, I thought that would make you laugh. All right. With pickleball being such a popular sport now, If there was who would you pick? Who would you want to see in a doubles pickleball match? One person has to come from the Looney Tunes universe. One person from the Marvel universe. You take one person from each universe, put them on a doubles team. Who would you want to see play? Who would make a good matchup?
One of the Animaniacs, just because it would be funny.
I forgot their names.
Yeah, I forgot their Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
Wacko, and Dot, I think. Yes.
So I'll take Yakko from the Animaniacs. And from the Marvel universe.
Who would be Yakko's partner?
I'm either taking Hawkeye or can I resurrect Quicksilver?
You can resurrect just because of speed?
Yes, just because of speed. Like if you said DC Universe, I'm taking Flash. And I probably don't even need a partner. But if I want accuracy, I'm going to take Hawkeye.
Who would you have them playing? You have to pick the entire game.
Against another Animaniacs and another...
You can't pick another Animaniacs just for the sake of the show.
I mean, another...
I'm sorry. They has to be in the Looney Tune and Marvel, yes.
I don't know any of the other Looney Tunes names, though.
You don't know Bugs Bunny's name?
Ooh, then I would pick... I'd probably have to pick Bugs because he'd be like the most...
He'd be the most...
It would be weird, but he would be like the most... It would be the weirdest, I guess.
What about the Tasmanian Devil?
I don't know if I trust him to not like just throw the ball around or eat it or something. So I need somebody who would actually work with the strategy.
Okay.
And the second Hawkeye and Quicksilver would both have to be on a team. I mean, have to be like against each other.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they would be my two guys for sure.
Okay.
You want speed in there. Like I know people like
yeah, definitely.
Those are like straight like Hulk would just wreck the whole thing. So no, forget that.
What about what's the guy? What's the blue bird thing from the Looney Tunes? Roadrunner.
Oh, there you go. Give me Roadrunner. Roadrunner would go to. Although I don't know how he's just straight line speed. I don't know how adept he is at moving side to side.
I don't know anything about Roadrunner.
If you're going to build a team, you need to take these things into account.
I did not research Roadrunner's lateral movement speed. I have no idea what that is. If you Google that, I have no idea what's going to come up. So that's a very good question.
You know who would be good at pickleball? Herb Jones.
Who? Your cousin Herb Jones.
Who? Herb
Jones. Who? Oh my
God. Well, if we don't get canceled, we'll be back next week. But we're coming up on the hour mark. So Rodg, and there's Mike, Speedy Gonzalez. But again, does he? Plus, he's too small. I feel like the ball would knock him over. So that was a suggestion from Mike. Rodg, we hit the up on the hour mark. How you feel? Another one in the books. Do you
feel good?
Same getting ready for the game preparation. There you go, as you do for Alabama football games, because that's what I do.
I won't this Thursday because I'll be at work Thursday, and since I'm at work, I'm not going to watch any of the game. But so I won't have the same type of preparation. Football is more of a relaxed atmosphere. It's obviously on a Saturday, so I'm at home chilling on the couch, having my milk. So I'm doing that good. So I don't know. It's going to be different.
Does a body good.
Does a body good. Right, Mom and Dad?
Yeah. And on that note, thank you once again, everybody tuned into the Herb and Rodg podcast every Monday at 7 o'clock. We have live broadcast. Thanks for Mike for filling up our comments.
Shout out to Big Mike.
We do appreciate it. So, as always, thank you guys all. Thanks again, Willie and the Shakeback group for just giving us this opportunity, man.
Much appreciated.
People don't realize how much work he puts in behind the scenes and trying to get us straight and get us on air. So, man,
shout out to Willie. Thank you so much.
Really, really appreciate it for having us on here and for putting up with us, man. So, for all the listeners out there, we'll be back next week to talk about how bad our first round picks were.
That is true.
To keep up with more football news and everything going on in the world. Oh, and next week, maybe we'll start my search for picking a baseball team because the boss ordered that I follow some baseball this year.
We've already discussed that, so yes, we will be on it. We will definitely talk a little baseball next time. We're not going to tell you how much baseball we're going to talk, but we're working on it.
Yes, if the Lakers minute is 45 seconds, then the baseball talk will be 46. All right, love you guys. Have a great night for the Herb and Rodg podcast.
Love y'all.
Have a wonderful night, and
as always,
roll Tide.